To all of our local or regional and our international viewers throughout the world, wherever you may be, a very warm welcome to another edition of the program Freedom Mondays, right here on Conversations with Zelisa. I trust all is well, you're safe, you're happy, you're in good health, and you're having yourself a beautiful day. You had a nice, safe weekend. Welcome, welcome to a beautiful edition where we continue to inform, educate, empower, and answer those unanswered questions. It's Monday, the 15th of January, 2024, a day and time we'll never have the opportunity to have again. If you're celebrating a birthday, happy birthday. If it's your anniversary, happy anniversary to you and yours. Let's quickly go to our quote for today, and our quote coming to us with the kind compliments of India in Style Expo. And you don't need a new day to start over. You only need a new mindset. I'm going to read this again. You don't need a new day to start over. You only need a new mindset and, of course, a new attitude, one that is positive. Thank you so much, Hisham. That came to us with the kind compliments of India in Style Expo. I want to remind you that they are now at the Mid-Center Mall in Chaguanas. Check them out for all of their daily deals. Their food court, play area, it's safe and secure parking. So check them out today. That's India in Style Expo at the Mid-Center Mall in Chaguanas. And I know that some of us do have family and friends visiting with us. So it's a nice place to take them for a nice family day of good shopping. And of course, nice authentic food from India, cooks from India. Thank you, Hisham. Just reminding you, it's Freedom Monday. And of course, coming to us with the kind compliments of Charon's Bookstores, Docks Engineering Limited, Lifetime Solutions Limited, Val Park Chinese Restaurant. Let's warmly welcome our host for today, Dr. Burinder Tiwari. He's lovingly and affectionately known as Dr. Bo to many. Good morning, Doc, and a warm welcome.
Hi. Good morning. Thank you for joining us, for listening, for watching, wherever you are, and we're happy to have you. This morning, we are going to talk about the landscape of Trinidad and Tobago politics. We have a situation in which elections, national elections, general elections are due in 2025. There is a fair amount of turbulence, I would say, beginning in the political arena, and we had the passing recently of someone you might call a national icon in the politics of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Basdev Pandey, who served as Prime Minister, opposition leader before that, and who was a trade union activist and revolutionary, really, and leader. And the landscape, as one might expect, because Michaela Pandey, his daughter, some years ago did also form a political party and is known to have a political interest. There are other parties on the scene besides the traditional parties of PNM and UNC. So we will talk about that landscape a little bit. And our special guest today is Dr. Bishnu Raghunath, who is a political scientist at the University of the West Indies, has been there for many years, has written many articles on the politics of Trinidad and Tobago and the region, and is a regular commentator in the public sphere on national issues. He is also head of an institution that is sort of established itself as a guardian of reasonable political behavior in the political arena. And from that point of view, he has an active interest, not just as a political scientist, but also as a civic society leader, civil society leader, civic society leader. But today, before we get to that, I want to deal with something that is happening internationally, and that is the uh, the elections that took place in Taiwan recently. And why that is important is because that is of real geopolitical significance. What is happening there between Taiwan on the one hand and the Republic of China on the other. Now let us understand in a very simple, you might say simplistic way, the relationship that is taking place. China is a major country in the world that has been through revolutionary change since Mao Zedong took over the country by revolutionary revolt. And since then, the Communist Party of China has been in charge of that country. From then, after the revolution, the success of the revolution and the deposition of the previous leader, and it has been in power and authority ever since. Now you have to understand how China operates. The supreme power in China is the Communist Party of China. That institution guards the presidency and the governance system. So out of the jurisdiction of the Communist Party in China, the president emerges and the political directorate emerges. And more than that, this Communist Party is also in charge of the military. The military command, the military leadership emerges out of that. And as the president, whoever he is, emerges out of that, he also commands the military. But the supreme force in China, given the structure and system that they have, is the Communist Party. Now, China has other jurisdictions under its control. Hong Kong was one of these. Hong Kong was a British protectorate, and it was through negotiations and agreement handed over to China. The British handed over to China with a basic understanding that the Chinese would not dominate or interfere with the society as it had evolved over time as a British protectorate. Because Hong Kong, under the British, had its own autonomous operations and operated largely as if it were an independent country. But over time, what happened is that China became more and more involved in the politics of Hong Kong. It wanted to have more influence on the politics of Hong Kong, on the political direction of Hong Kong. It wanted to have a certain amount of influence on what happened in terms of economic strategy of Hong Kong in relation to China. And in that kind of situation, there was increasing, what can I say, engagement of the government of mainland China with Hong Kong. And today, the party that controls the political directorate in China is very much aligned to the Chinese government and the political directorate of China. The the government that controls Hong Kong now. So you might say that the government of Hong Kong has traditionally been kind of like an autonomous, relatively powerful local government. But now you have a significant amount of Chinese influence in terms of personalities and in terms of direct interface. And the relationship between China and the political directorate of Hong Kong is good, but the relationship between China and the people of Hong Kong is not so good. It is a source of tension because the people of Hong Kong feel somehow that their quality of life, their style of living, their approach to governance has been interfered with. Now, that brings me to Taiwan. Taiwan operates under a one China, two systems policy. That is to say, Taiwan is part of China, the Republic of China. But it is autonomous, it is self-governing. And while China is run by the Communist Party, while Hong Kong has political parties, some with more or less influence from China, mainland China, in Taiwan, you have basically a democratic system in which you have a multi-party system competing for power. There is at least one political party that is pretty close to the political directorate in China, and perhaps it is difficult to say the Communist Party, no less wedded to the idea of democracy, but more friendly towards China, more accommodating. But in the elections, although China interfered in terms of giving a voice to its feelings and asked for the former vice president, who became president now in this last elections, in a narrow but significant victory, China asked the people of Taiwan not to vote for him because they said it would increase the tension between Taiwan and China. The people nevertheless voted for him, and he is now the president of China for a third term. That name, which you would hear about some more, is Lai Ching-te, and he is set to lead China, I believe, for another 4 years. I think their elections are every 4 years. And he is set to lead China, and what that means is the continuing tension between China and Taiwan continues. And as you know, as you might know, over the last few years, the movement of Chinese ships in the China Strait and the surrounding waters around mainland China, which includes passages between Taiwan, which includes passages between China and the Philippines, which includes a whole range of islands that are claimed as owned by the Chinese government. The waters have been very busy with Chinese ships. And the geopolitical tension between the United States and China has increased because of the relationship and tension with China in the ocean, in the straits outside its borders, but also in relation to its relationship with Hong Kong, but more particularly Taiwan. Why is Taiwan important to the United States? Well, for many, many strategic reasons. I will not go into that. But the most important current reason today is that Taiwan is the biggest producer of microchips that are critical to the evolution of the AI industry, artificial intelligence industry, which is driving every institution today. If you know a company like NVIDIA, which has done marvelously in the stock market in the United States, you will know that their business is microchips. They have a relationship with the biggest company in Taiwan. So this microchips industry has become a strategic asset in the economics of the geopolitics.
Good.
And therefore it is critical. So we will talk about these things another time. I will try to have various people on the program that can talk about these things. But the main point to make here is that the tensions between Taiwan and mainland China continue. The geopolitical situation, despite assurances on both sides, is likely to continue. And you have a situation in which there are going to be all kinds of maneuvers in the world system because of Taiwan, because of that. Recently, a few days, only the election happened last week, and yesterday, one country in the South Sea Islands changed its diplomatic status from relationship with China, relationship with Taiwan to relationship with mainland China.
Yeah.
So that is the beginning of some of the things that can happen. But we'll talk about that. I pass on to Zelisa now so that she can keep you up to date with information about our sponsors. Thank you for listening and watching. This is Freedom Monday, and I am Bo Tiwari.
Thank you, Dr. Tiwari, reminding you that our program this morning coming to us with the kind compliments of Charon's Bookstores, Docs Engineering Works Limited, Lifetime Solution Limited, and Valpark Chinese Restaurants. Let's go to these important messages. When we return, we continue Freedom Monday on Conversations with Zelisa, and of course welcome special guest today, Mr. Bishnu Raghunath, lecturer at the University of the West Indies. Let's go to these important messages.
Looking for the best in educational supplies? Then come on down to Charon's Bookstore, the trusted name in everything back to school, from uniforms, textbooks, school accessories, stationery, and much more. Our dedicated team is committed in providing the highest quality in customer service. Visit us at number 53 Eastern Main Road, Tunapuna, Twin City Mall, Twin City, number 24 Eastern Main Road, San Juan, and number 10 Diego Martin, 4 Roads, Diego Martin. Call us at 235-5811.
Are you ready to own your own home? But worried about time, money, and construction? We handle it all. With Docs, you can sleep in your dream. Make a down payment of $100K or $150K and we'll build a 2 or 3 bedroom home on your unused land. A home is an investment into your future, so let's help you invest wise, invest well. Payment plans available. We're only a call away.
Valpark Chinese Restaurant. Experience the flavors of authentic Chinese cuisine for a romantic night out or a family dinner. Our newly renovated cozy atmosphere and professional friendly service makes dining with us an unforgettable experience. We have a well-equipped conference room that caters for meetings and corporate events for up to 50 persons. Safe and secure parking. Valpark Chinese Restaurant. Open every day including Sundays and holidays. Book your table today. Give us a call 645-5474 662-4540.
Lifetime Solutions, manufacturer of metal roofing, panels, framing, guttering, and related products. Located lot number 26, Omera Industrial Estate in Arima. Give us a call, 646-5813 for further information. Lifetime Solutions. Give us a call today.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
Super quality supermarket. Best quality and great prices. Get your fresh fruits, vegetables and meats. It's a one-stop shop for the most affordable groceries, baby items, kitchen supplies, bathroom accessories, car care supplies, pet food, toys and lots more, all at Super Quality Supermarket. Wide aisles, fully air-conditioned and secured parking. 3 locations nationwide: Hoover Car Park, Hoover, 98 Endeavour Road, Chagones, and 47 Tissue Drive, Trincity. Super Quality Supermarket.
Welcome back to Freedom Monday on Conversation with Zelisa, and of course reminding you our program is coming to us with the kind compliments of Charon's Bookstores, Docs Engineering Works Limited, Lifetime Solutions Limited, and of course Valpark Chinese Restaurant. Dr. Tiwari, welcome back and welcome to your special guest.
Thank you very much, Zelisa. Good morning again to all of you. You are watching Freedom Monday on Zelisa's and on Synergy TV and a range of media institutions across the globe. And we thank you for watching and for listening. We have a special guest this morning. I want to introduce him to you. He's Dr. Bishnu Raghunath. He's a lecturer at the University of the West Indies, has been there for some time. A very knowledgeable person in the field of political science and very, very au courant, very current with the politics and the party system and the goings on in the politics of Trinidad and Tobago. So this morning I want to talk to him a little bit about the political landscape here, which I think is shifting a little bit in the sense that, you know, power abhors a vacuum. And a vacuum is always filled. And sometimes things happen that are almost imperceptible, almost unseen, that causes results or shifts that one might not anticipate. But it happens, and then in hindsight, you begin to put things together to see how that happened, because there's always a logical explanation for everything, most things anyway. Sometimes you have to think outside the box to get the logic, but there is always a logical explanation to things. So today I want to talk to Dr. Raghunath about the changing political landscape. And I will start by asking him a simple question, which is that you've had a situation in Trinidad and Tobago now where the Rowley government, the People's National Movement, has been in power since 2015 for 2 consecutive terms, which will end on sometime in 2025. And that term will end when the election day is announced. You'll have a lame duck government until then. And the elections will determine two things. One, whether they continue in power, or secondly, whether somebody else does. Okay? Now, I wonder if you could talk about that 10-year development between 2015 to the present time. It's about 8 years now, going on 9. And what has been happening on the political landscape before we get to the immediate current present situation in 2024. Can you talk a little bit about what has transpired in those 8 years?
Okay, so thank you very much for having me on the show. In the last 8 years, we've seen the Rowley government literally strengthen itself in government. And to some extent, people will say it's simply because that strengthening came about because of probably weakening of the opposition. We'll talk about that a little bit later in more greater detail. What we know for a fact of the Rowley government, when they came into office in 2015, there were economic challenges, there were social challenges facing the society, and they attempted to deal with some of those challenges. Now, for all intents and purposes, from the economic standpoint, the government boasts that they have literally turned around the economy. I am not convinced that they have done so. Yes, they have made some positive movements, but there are many negative issues that still bedevil the government and Trinidad and Tobago per se. When you look at our current state of affairs, compare us to 10 years from, or 10 years ago, what you realize is that we are probably worse off than we were 10 years ago. But, so that's one aspect of it. That's economically. Socially, well, we all know about the crime situation, and that is the one benchmark that we could use, and definitely we have regressed significantly. Politically, however, where have we gone with regard to the politics? In 2015, and in that first term that the Rowley government was in office, there was the inclination that things would have gotten better. I don't think it did get better to the extent that Keith Rowley himself had suggested. And for that, in that regard, he had suggested that he'd probably give up power in 2020 and allow somebody else to take lead of the PNM. But of course, 2020 came, and Keith Rowley said that he went back, retained the office of political leader, and came back into government. His excuse then, however, was that we were in a pandemic and we had to deal with all the various issues and so forth, and he needed to ensure that there was a stable government in office, transitioning from the last government to this government. That being said, however, from my own perspective, and this is what I'll say, had we not had that COVID crisis in 2020, the opposition could have given the government a greater challenge in attempting to overthrow the PNM from office. But COVID came, and with all the various lockdowns as well as all the strategies employed by the government, I think people were a little bit more satisfied that the government could probably take us out of that COVID challenge. Be that as it may, flip the coin to the other side. Like I said, in 2020, the opposition had gone through various challenges on its own. People like Vasant Bharat, for instance, had pulled out from the party, and there were internal challenges to the leadership, of course. There was a suggestion that Kamala Prasad-Vishesa surrounded herself with a set of yes men, more or less, in the leadership positions, so that nobody could significantly challenge her for that leadership. But having said that, come 2019, and as we went into 2020, long before the COVID, or just before the COVID, I think there was some issue of concern that if we had a united UNC, and when I say united UNC, with people like Vass and Bharat and all the others coming back in and taking the party forward, they would have given the PNM a significant challenge in taking the government. But again, that didn't happen, and COVID simply facilitated the PNM coming back into power to a large extent. What has happened since then? Well, again, like I said, economically, I think that the society has not, yes, we have stabilized after the COVID crisis, but economically we are still in dire straits. The hope and that we are going to get dragon gas is something that we need to look at, but we also need to look at what has happened with our own gas and oil supplies, and what that meant is simply that there's little or no significant revenues coming into the country. And that is demonstrated with the foreign exchange crisis that all of the small businesses face. The big businesses, they have it, but not the small businesses. And what we're seeing, therefore, is some degree of contraction. Notwithstanding that contraction, politically now, from a party perspective, we've seen the PNM itself going through some degree of change. Some degree of change that I am not sure is well supported by the entire membership of the PNM. So take, for instance.
All right, let me stop you at this point.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back and discuss. There are many issues that you raised there. One is the fact that there has been economic and social deterioration over the last 8 years.
Definitely.
Under the PNM. Secondly, that there has been growing weakness of the opposition, which created the conditions for the PNM, even under conditions of challenge, to prevail in 2020. Yes. You also raised the issue of lack of coherence, lack of unity, lack of purposefulness on the part of the opposition. But you say creeping into the PNM as well is a certain amount of uncertainty about its future. So these are good, very, very good points to take up when we come back after the break.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Tiwari, reminding you that our program, coming to us with the kind compliments of Tarrant's Bookstores, Docs Engineering Works Limited, Lifetime Solutions Limited, and of course, Valpark Chinese Restaurant. Let's go to these important messages when we return. Freedom Monday continues.
Looking for the best in educational supplies? Then come on down to Charon's Bookstore, the trusted name in everything back to school, from uniforms, textbooks, school accessories, stationery, and much more. Our dedicated team is committed in providing the highest quality in customer service. Visit us at number 53 Eastern Main Road, Tunapuna, Trin City Mall, Trin City, number 24 Eastern Main Road, San Juan, and number 10 Diego Martin, 4 Roads, Diego Martin. Call us at 235-5811.
Are you ready to own your own home? But worried about time, money, and construction? We handle it all. With Docs, you can sleep in your dream. Make a down payment of $100K or $150K and we'll build a 2 or 3 bedroom home on your unused land. A home is an investment into your future, so let's help you invest wise, invest well. Payment plans available. We're only a call away.
Valpark Chinese Restaurant. Experience the flavors of authentic Chinese cuisine for a romantic night out or a family dinner. Our newly renovated cozy atmosphere atmosphere and professional friendly service makes dining with us an unforgettable experience. We have a well-equipped conference room that caters for meetings and corporate events for up to 50 persons. Safe and secure parking. Valpark Chinese Restaurant. Open every day including Sundays and holidays. Book your table today. Give us a call 645-5474 662-4540.
Lifetime Solutions, manufacturer of metal roofing, panels, framing, guttering, and related products. Located lot number 26, Omera Industrial Estate in Arima. Give us a call 646-5813 for further information. Lifetime Solutions. Give us a call today.
After huge success in Mokoya, La Romaine and South Park Mall, for the first time ever, Indian Style Expo will be at the air-conditioned Dome at Mid-Center Mall from January 6th. Over 60 merchants. Get all that you need: garments, furniture, handicraft, footwear, jewelry, and so much more. For the first time ever in Trinidad, be sure to check out our $20 food court. Yes, you heard right, but that's not all. When you spend over $200, you also get a free meal. Bring your kids to the arcade while you shop. The Indian Style Expo at the air-conditioned Dome, Mid-Center Mall, starting on January 6th from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily, including weekends and holidays.
Welcome back to Freedom Mondays on Conversations with Zelisa, a dynamic program to inform, educate and empower, coming to us with the kind compliments of Charon's Bookstores, Docs Engineering Works Limited, Lifetime Solution Limited and Valpark Chinese Restaurant. Dr. Tiwari, welcome back.
Thank you, Zelisa. Thank you for staying with us. We're going to continue our discussion with political sciences, Dr. Bishnu Raghunath from the University of the West Indies. I want to start, Dr. Raghunath, with something that you said. You said that something has happened to the UNC and it has become weakened. I wonder if you can address, first of all, what has made the UNC weaker, and is there any possibility for it to summon the kind of strength it needs, not just to win an election, but to govern the country if it gets an opportunity by the population?
The UNC, the weakening of the UNC, I would say, started with the 2015 elections, when we had the selection of certain candidates, or the replacement of certain candidates, supposedly in safe UNC seats. Because basically one of the concerns that was raised way back then and has continued to be raised until today is simply how strong are these representatives, MPs now that they are, how strong are they in terms of their debating skills and everything else in their presentations within the parliament? And
in 2020, yeah.
No, 2015.
From 15?
From 2015 coming back up.
Yeah.
Right? And it is in that context that you have to understand and question whether or not some of those persons who have been selected, several of them came in 2020, yes, but several of those who came before that and taken leadership positions, whether they were really given the opportunity to take charge, lead, and make a significant contribution, or whether they were only allowed to operate in the background of the leader. So that, I think, is one of the basic challenges that the UNC would have faced. And
so leadership and selection.
Leadership and selection.
And opportunity to manifest oneself, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So that is one of the challenges. The other challenge now is one of the things that the UNC has never been able to really deal with, and that is the strategy that the PNM has been using against the UNC ever since, well, they were ever since the PNM was in opposition, and they have continued with that strategy until today. And that is simply to target certain individuals within the UNC and to demonstrate or claim that they are corrupt, all of these things. And that taint of corruption has continued, and the UNC has never been able to, I mean, yes, the UNC keeps on saying, well, nobody has been charged and those sorts of things. But the PNM keeps pounding this and blaming the challenges that the government has now on the UNC, which has been out of office for more than 8 years, but notwithstanding that, people still tend to believe that some of the things that the UNC did, we are still suffering the consequences of which. In terms of the party leadership strategy too, there's a concern as to whether or not the political leader concerns with regard to her health, and not only her health, with regards to her policies and strategies in taking the country forward. We may remember, for instance, when I think it was the bail bill came to Parliament, and because of the opposition's vote, it was defeated. And within a matter of 6 months, the opposition had to actually go back and ask, well, because of the pressures the citizenry were facing, and they now had to kind of force the opposition to rethink their position. Those are issues which reflect a degree of weakness in strategy and so forth as to how the UNC operated and probably continues to operate. Coming back to the issue of leadership, there's that concern, and particularly so in the last few years, as to whether or not anybody in the UNC will dare challenge the leader in terms of disagreeing with the leader. So you have deputy political leaders, the chairman, all of whom seem to be not strong enough to tell the leader, Madam Political Leader, we are not going in the right direction, or we need to reconsider where we're going and so on. They simply go along. And I think that is being presented outside there as a weak leader. And again, some of the strategies we see falling apart. So for instance, again, the way the UNC campaigns and carries itself out in public leaves a lot to be desired. So for instance, I would tell them, I mean, I have already said it, if you want to really get back into power, and there are so many things that, yes, you could talk about the government, but then you have sporadic instances when you have some meetings with the population, and then it just simply drops, and you don't keep the momentum going.
Consistency.
And there's no consistency there. So those are some of the concerns that have led to the weakening of the US
opposition.
Yes.
So let me just kind of summarize that. You talk about a weak leadership and a weak leadership team.
Yes.
All right. You talk about the selection of candidates. You talk about the performance of candidates, but also the space within which people are allowed to manifest their talents, etc., within the parliament and elsewhere. Bad strategy or poor strategy, and the taint of corruption, which has never been frontally dealt with by the UNC. So these are the issues. What about the PNM now? What is happening? They were able to win the 2020 election. They were able to stand against a challenge from the UNC. But you say that there are problems emerging in the party now of a certain kind, which could, depending on how it's resolved, either strengthen the PNM or weaken the PNM. What are some of those things?
Well, let's start with the PNM. The PNM itself has its own challenges in terms of how it presents itself. Now, unlike the UNC, which, I mean, literally washes its dirty linen in the public, what happens in the PNM is that they do everything behind closed doors. So, for instance, we don't hear about concerns about the leadership. We don't hear about concerns about challenges to the leadership. But we know that they are there. For instance, the political leader of the PNM has indicated that I'm not, I most likely will not go forward in the next general election as political leader. But having said that, what he has also done at the same point in time is simply installed deputy political leaders who probably would have had his blessings in moving the party forward. But some of those deputy political leaders are not well supported by the rank and file.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't hear that coming out in the public. They will speak behind closed doors. There are concerns as to whether or not, for instance, and we come back to that that old debate about the PNL, the Manning fraction versus the Rowley fraction. And even though Brian Manning is now part of the government, many people who were pro-Manning still believe that critical people who are Manning supporters or who were Manning supporters are still being left in the cold and are being sidelined. And those are some of the concerns that we know are happening within the PNM.
All right, we'll take a break. We come back to the PNM when we come back after the break. But I just want to summarize what you said there. First of all, there are indeed problems in the PNM, but they are more cautious about how they manage, and they are better able to manage how they deal with those problems. Secondly, there's a certain amount of factionalism in the PNM dating back to the Manning days, because Keith Rowley was someone who opposed Manning while he was still leader, and that factionalism persists. And thirdly, Keith Rowley has installed deputy leaders who may not win or have the favor of most of the members of the political party that is the PNM, and that in itself is a source of possible contention. So we stop at this point, Zelisa.
Sure.
Over to you.
Thank you, Doc. And of course, our program today coming to us with the kind compliments of Charon's Bookstores, Doc's Engineering Works Limited, Lifetime Solutions Limited, and Valpark Chinese Restaurants. It's Freedom Monday on Conversations with Zelisa. Let's go to these important messages. When we return, the conversation continues.
So.
Looking for the best in educational supplies? Then come on down to Charon's Bookstore, the trusted name in everything back to school, from uniforms, textbooks, school accessories, stationery, and much more. Our dedicated team is committed in providing the highest quality in customer service. Visit us at number 53 Eastern Main Road, Tunapuna, Trin City Mall, Trin City, number 24 Eastern Main Road, San Juan, and number 10 Diego Martin, 4 Roads, Diego Martin. Call us at 235-5811.
Are you ready to own your own home? But worried about time, money, and construction? We handle it all. With Docs, you can sleep in your dream. Make a down payment of $100K or $150K and we'll build a 2 or 3 bedroom home on your unused land. A home is an investment into your future, so let's help you invest wise, invest well. Payment plans available. We're only a call away.
Valpark Chinese Restaurant. Experience the flavors of authentic Chinese cuisine for a romantic night out or a family dinner. Our newly renovated cozy atmosphere and professional friendly service makes dining with us an unforgettable experience. We have a well-equipped conference room that caters for meetings and corporate events for up to 50 persons. Safe and secure parking. Valpark Chinese Restaurant. Open every day including Sundays and holidays. Book your table today. Give us a call 645-5474 662-4540.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people. and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
Super quality supermarket. Best quality and great prices. Get your fresh fruits, vegetables and meats. It's a one-stop shop for the most affordable groceries, baby items, kitchen supplies, bathroom accessories, car care supplies, pet food, toys and lots more, all at Super Quality Supermarket. Wide aisles, fully air-conditioned and secured parking. 3 locations nationwide: Hoover Car Park, Hoover, 98 Endeavour Road, Chaguanas, and 47 Tissue Drive, Trincity. Super Quality Supermarket.
Welcome back. Thanks for choosing us as we continue to inform, educate, empower, and answer those unanswered questions. Freedom Monday coming to us with the kind compliments of Charon's Bookstores, Docs Engineering Works Limited, Lifetime Solutions Limited, and Val Park Chinese Restaurant. Dr. Tiwari, welcome back.
Thank you very much. This is Freedom Monday. I'm Bo Tiwari, and my guest is Dr. Vishnu Raghunath, political scientist from the University of the West Indies. We close by talking a little bit about the PNM and the fact that there was still some factionalism in the PNM, that the political leader, Dr. Rowley, had installed deputy leaders who might not be the most popular person, and that since he announced that he was not likely to go up, there are ambitions that have been unleashed in the PNM. In the PNM, I think people often talk of possible successorship to Dr. Rowley. They have spoken about Amy Brown, who is the foreign minister. They've spoken about the Minister of Youth,
Foster Cummings.
Foster Cummings. They've talked about Penny Beckles, who's Minister of Planning. They've talked about Stuart Young, who is Minister of Energy, and he's chairman, right?
He's chairman
of the party.
He's chairman now.
In that kind of situation, do you think that Dr. Rowley is likely to create the conditions for the unleashing of these ambitions and a battle within the PNM, or is he likely to stay until 2025 elections and then perhaps manage his exit?
Well, interestingly enough, the names you called there, you left out one critical
What's
person.
that?
That's the Minister of Education.
Okay.
Now, who has been promoted
To
to deputy political leader.
Yeah.
And there has been the suspicion within a lot of the PNM rank and file that she is the hand-picked person by Dr. Rowley to take the leadership of the party. So whereas Penelope Beckles, for instance, would have been one of those people in the past who would have been loved by the rank and file, they are now being told that forget Penelope, let's go with somebody else, a female leader, but not Penelope. That, I think, is one of the challenges that comes to the fore when we talk about the divisions in the PNM and the Manning supporters as opposed to the Rowley supporters, because clearly Amory Brown, for instance, would have gotten the support of a lot of the Manning supporters, but I am not sure that he finds himself within the same level of support amongst the leadership of the PNM at this point in time. So that's one of the concerns.
So you think we're likely to see, let's say we are not certain about who is likely to emerge. You think we're likely to see Dr. Rowley taking his exit before the elections?
I think most likely he will.
You think he will?
I think he will. He will let the party choose a leader to take them into the elections.
What about Mrs. Bissessa?
That is the challenge. That's a major difference between the PNM and the UNC. In that, whereas in the PNM you see the issue of succession being dealt with frontally, in the UNC, succession is not one of those things that are being focused upon. Clearly, Rudal Munilal is a deputy political leader, and Rudal is probably one of the better debaters and speakers for the UNC. But when you look at the other deputy political leaders, you are now left to wonder as to exactly whether or not any one of them could lead a challenge into election.
So we are likely to see, I mean, I wonder if I could speculate, we are likely to see a situation in which you have a leadership race inside the PNM, but a leadership race for leadership of the UNC from outside of the UNC. Is that a possibility?
Outside the current executive, yes, and that I think might probably be in the best interest of the UNC to some extent.
Okay, well, since you raised that issue, since we are speculating there, and I say to my audience, I say to my listeners, my viewers, that this is pure speculation. Because there are no facts to really address us there, and I don't want to be involved in any kind of misleading and that kind of thing, right? I deal in issues, I deal in facts. In that kind of situation, though, what is likely to happen with the other parties in the country? You have Gary Griffith's party, National Transformation. You have Hope that emerged, and we had some problems recently with the leadership there. You have David Abdullah's party. You have Philip Alexander's party, but he has resigned as leader, so the party is there. You have people speculating. I'm sure that we should give her time for mourning and for dealing with the rights of her father, the RITES of her father following his passing. But in this post-Pandey era that we are dealing with, all of these forces are there, some of them dormant. What are we likely to see emerging?
What I would expect in 2025, we'll end back up with a two-party situation. Unfortunately, I think that a lot of the smaller parties will remain non-entities in the political fray. Not Philip Alexander. Gary Griffith, however, has already made it quite clear when we went into the local government elections that he's willing to throw his hat in with the UNC, and he's going to work with the UNC.
Yes.
I think Gary Griffith has made that critical analysis that we're going to end back up with a PNM-UNC fight, and it's better if he aligns himself early on with the UNC. And of course, there's always that hope. I know him, Gary Griffith in 2018, 2019, when he became police commissioner, had always said, in 2025, I'm going to be prime minister. Having said that, he's still probably hoping that he could be one of those contenders for the leadership of the UNC outside of the current executive of the UNC.
Before or after the 2025 elections?
He's hoping at any point in time.
Yes.
Right? So he's one of those people who have already decided.
So the marriage between the UNC and the NTA is really a marriage of political unity and a party unity, but also an opportunity for a change of leadership within that formation. Is that what you're saying?
Possibly.
Okay, I find that very interesting.
Possibly. Yes. And again, and then you asked about the Mikila and whether she will play a critical part. Notwithstanding that we have to undergo the period of mourning and for her father, herein comes a real challenge for Mikila. Mikila could ride a wave of sympathy in the immediate future, but 2025 is too long a way for her to maintain that sympathy. Mind you, she needs to build a base for her party as early as possible if she wants to go it alone.
And we should interject there that she has in fact formed a party.
No, she has a party.
Yes,
she has a party. The question, the problem, however, is the party doesn't really have a significant base as at this point in time. And this would be probably the best time for her to try to build a base based on that sympathy vote, sympathy support. But mind you, again, she now has to find that right balance between mourning and building a party.
Give me a summary sentence, short sentence as we close, because this is the end now. We're coming to the close. Anything?
What I would say is that we are in for a very interesting time. If the UNC is willing to embrace Mikila, and they will have to embrace her not at a simple level, but at a leadership level, she will bring something to the party. And with the NTA, that could also facilitate it. And if I may end with one thing, in 2000, just after the 2000 elections, when Basil Pandey attempted to bring in Carlos John, I think it was, as a deputy political leader, and he was defeated by Ramesh Maharaj. At that point in time, when I had spoken to colleagues across the Caribbean, he said Pandey was ahead of his time. The UNC may have to think ahead of its time and try to get a leader.
Thank you so much, Dr. Raghunath. Thank you for staying with us. This has been a most interesting, unfinished conversation. So we'll try to take it forward on another day. Zelisa, thank you so much for your patience. And thank you for being with us. This is Freedom Monday, Botiwari.
Thank you so much. Special thanks going out to Charon's Bookstores, Docs Engineering Works Limited, Lifetime Solutions Limited, Val Park Chinese Restaurant. It's time to visit Val Park Chinese Restaurant with your friends and family. And this is where we pull the curtains down, reminding you we do have a repeat at 3 o'clock. Tell your friends, tell your family members. Here's reminding you that with God, all things are possible. Thank you so much for choosing us. Have yourselves an awesome day today. I am Zelisa Budu Singh Rupani.